Today, we're diving into the raw power of time and how shifting your perspective can turn literally small amounts of money into an absolute financial superpower. All right, let's kick things off with a quick game. If I gave you the option right now, would you rather be an 18-year-old with exactly $10,000 to your name or a 65-year-old sitting on a cool $1 million in cash? Seriously, what would you pick? Just think about it for a second. It's a massive question, really, because it tests whether you value raw, immediate starting capital or the hidden kind of magical power of time. Got your answer? Okay, keep it locked in your head, because how this whole thing plays out by the end of this explainer is gonna completely blow your mind. No spoilers, but you'll see. So look, most people out there firmly believe they're driving their own finances. I mean, they have a job, they pay their bills, they feel like they're at the steering wheel, right? But if we're being totally honest here, most people are actually tied up in the trunk of their financial life. Yeah, the trunk. They're basically just along for the ride, hitting literally every bump in the road, with absolutely zero idea where they're actually going or when they'll get there. To build real wealth, you gotta untie yourself, climb out of that trunk, and get firmly into the driver's seat. And let me tell you, the earlier you grab that steering wheel, the better. Now, to get into that driver's seat, you really need to master what's called the wealth multiplier. Think of it as the engine of your financial car. It's a concept designed to show you exactly how compounding growth makes every single invested dollar exponentially more powerful over time. Let's use a doodle analogy here. Imagine every dollar you save as a little stickman employee, okay? When you invest that dollar, that little stickman goes to work for you 24/7, no breaks. And the absolute best part, that stickman earns more stickmen, and then they all go to work for you. It's like a snowball effect. That right there is the sheer power of compounding growth. You know, a lot of young folks look at people older than them with a kind of sense of envy. They see the nice cars, the houses, the established careers, the whole shebang. But here is a massive paradigm shift for you. Older folks actually look at the youth with way more envy. Seriously, why? Because young people possess the single most valuable resource available, the elusive and ever-escaping component of time. Time is the absolute ultimate fuel for the wealth multiplier. The more runway you give your little stickman employees to work, the bigger the army they can build. It's that simple. All right, let's see how this actually builds, because we definitely need to ground this in some real math. But hey, don't let the numbers scare you off. The math here is super straightforward and actually pretty conservative. The wealth multiplier calculation assumes that for every dollar invested at age 20, you can predict an annualized rate of return of 10%. But to be extra safe and realistic, the source material assumes that every single year, that rate of return slowly drops by 0.1%. So at 21, it's 9.9%, and so on until it hits a terminal rate of 5.5% at age 65. So we aren't promising infinite, sky-high returns here. This is a totally grounded, realistic projection. And this math brilliantly illustrates what happens to your potential wealth as time slips away. Get this, at age 20, your wealth multiplier is an incredible 88 times. That means one single dollar becomes $88 by retirement. But just 5 years later, by age 25, that multiplier is literally cut in half. It drops to 44 times. And by age 30, it's dropped again to just 23 times. Every single year you wait, the multiplying power of your money actively shrinks. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is simple. Procrastination is not your friend. Please do not fall into the mental trap of telling yourself, oh, I'll just get to my money later. I've got plenty of time. The sharp drop we just saw proves that waiting is quite literally the most expensive mistake you can make. Every day you delay getting into the driver's seat of your financial life, you're basically firing those little stickman employees before they even get a chance to work for you. Delay is 100% the enemy of the wealth multiplier. Now hold on, I want to make something crystal clear here. If you're older than 20 or 25, please do not mishear this data in despair. Even at age 30, your wealth multiplier is still 23 times. Think about that. If I told you that I could multiply any money you gave me 23 times over, you'd jump at that opportunity in a heartbeat, right? It is still an incredible superpower. It is never, ever too late to build a better future for yourself. So if you're starting a bit later in your wealth building journey, let this simple math be the exact motivator you need to take action today. All right, moving into section 1, the big reveal. Let's find out who actually wins the $1 million game. So let's close the loop on that game we played earlier. If you chose the 18-year-old, let's look at the sheer power of starting that early. At 18 years of age, you have an incredible amount of time on your side before hitting a standard retirement age. And because of that massive time horizon, your wealth multiplier is a staggering 108. Yeah, 108. That means for every single dollar an 18-year-old invests, it has the potential to become nearly $108 in retirement. Just let the weight of that number sink in for a second. $1 becomes 108. Mind-blowing, right? So let's apply that 108 multiplier back to our scenario. That 18-year-old takes their $10,000 and simply invests it. We multiply that initial 10 grand by 108. The result? That $10,000 explodes into a mind-blowing $1.8 million by retirement. And here's the kicker. They don't have to add another cent to it. Just by getting out of the trunk, putting that initial seed money to work, and letting time do all the heavy lifting, they've basically guaranteed themselves an absolute fortune. The final results are just staggering. The 18-year-old ends up with $1.8 million, while our 65-year-old is at retirement with their flat $1 million. The 18-year-old completely crushes the 65-year-old, coming out nearly a full $1 million ahead. This completely shatters that old illusion that you need a massive pile of cash to become wealthy. It proves that early time in the market is vastly, undeniably more powerful than a huge pile of starting cash late in the game. Now, I know what a lot of you might be thinking right now. There's absolutely no way an 18-year-old can save $10,000. Come on, that's a myth. But let's break it down for a second. If you're young, working a part-time job, and still living at home with minimal expenses, saving 10 grand after taxes is actually completely doable, making less than $11 an hour. Seriously, it just requires a little bit of discipline. The barrier to entry for building real generational wealth is honestly so much lower than we've all been led to believe. It really just takes deliberate action. So what's your next move? As you set out on your own wealth-building journey, you really need to know exactly where you stand today. The source material for this explainer highlights a few key steps to get you started. First up, benchmark your status. Ask yourself, are you actually on track to becoming a millionaire based on your current age? Second, calculate your exact multiplier. And third, set your monthly saving goals. The source recommends heading over to money.com to access their specific calculators and comprehensive resources. They'll literally do all the complex math for you, showing exactly what you need to save each month to hit your first, or hey, even your second million. Which brings us to our final, defining question. You've seen the math. You understand the incredible leverage that the wealth multiplier provides. The only real mistake here is waiting. So, are you ready to finally untie yourself, climb out of the trunk, and take the wheel? Or are you going to let your absolute greatest asset just slip away?
Freedom isn't given, it's built, and it starts with what you do next.